Good night. We are ZEE, Zaboura Eichstaedt Experience. Tonight with Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Magic, and a mash-up with Foucault. Enjoy. Chapter 8. The Queen's Croquet Ground. A large rose tree stood near the entrance of the garden. The roses growing on it were white, but there were 3 gardeners at it, busily painting them red. Alice thought this a very curious thing, and she went nearer to watch them. And just as she came up to them, she heard one of them say, "Look out now, 5. Don't go splashing paint over me like that." "I couldn't help it," said 5 in a sulky tone. 7 jogged my elbow. On which 7 looked up and said, "That's right, 5. Always lay the blame on the others." "You'd better not talk," said 5. "I heard the Queen say only yesterday you deserve to be beheaded." "What for?" said the one who had spoken first. "That's none of your business." 2, said 7. "Yes, it is his business," said 5. "And I'll tell him it was for bringing the cooked tulip roots instead of onions." 7 flung down his brush and had just begun, "Well, of all the unjust things," when his eye chanced to fall upon Alice. As she stood watching them and he checked himself suddenly, the others looked round also, and all of them bowed down. "Would you tell me, please," said Alice a little timidly, "why are you painting the roses?" 5 and 7 said nothing, but looked at 2. 2 began in a low voice, "Why, the fact is, you see, miss, this here ought to have been a red rose tree, and we put a white one in by mistake. And if the Queen was to find it out, we should all have our heads cut off, you know. So you see, miss, we're doing our best afore she comes to." At this moment, 5, who had been anxiously looking across the garden, called out, "The Queen! The Queen!" And the 3 gardeners instantly threw themselves flat upon their faces. There was a sound of many footsteps, and Alice looked round, eager to see the Queen. First came 10 soldiers carrying clubs. These were all shaped like the 3 gardeners, oblong and flat, with their heads and feet on the corners. Next, the 10 courtiers. These were ornamented all over with diamonds and walked 2 and 2 as the soldiers did. After these came the royal children. They were all ornamented with hearts. Next came the guests, mostly kings and queens, and among them Alice recognized the white rabbit. Then followed the knave of hearts, carrying the king's crown on a crimson velvet cushion. And last of all this grand procession came the king and the queen of hearts. When the procession came opposite to Alice, they all stopped and looked at her, and the queen said severely, "Who is this?" She said it to the knave of hearts, who only bowed and smiled in reply. "Idiot," said the queen, tossing her head impatiently, and Turning to Alice, she went on. "What's your name, child?" "My name is Alice, 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 so please your majesty," said Alice very politely. But she added to herself, "Why, they're only a pack of cards after all. I needn't be afraid of them," said Foucault. "And who are these?" said the queen, pointing to the 3 gardeners who were lying around the rose tree. For you see, as they were lying on their faces and the pattern on their backs was the same as the rest of the pack, she could not tell whether they were gardeners or soldiers or courtiers or 3 of her own children. How? No business of mine. The queen turned crimson with fury, and after glaring at her for a moment like a wild beast, began screaming, "Off with her head! Off with!" "Nonsense," said Alice very loudly and decidedly, and the queen was silent. The king laid his up hand upon her arm and timidly said, "Consider, my dear, she's only a child." The queen, "Can you play croquet? Can you play croquet? Croquet." The soldiers were silent and looked at Alice, as the question was evidently meant for her. "Yes," shouted Alice. "Come on then," roared the queen. And Alice joined the procession, wondering very much what happens next.
Alle für alle kriegen.
Hush. 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 Said the rabbit. Hush. Hush. Said the rabbit. Hush. Hush. Said the rabbit.
Nein, du kannst nicht.
She's under sentence of execution. What for? What for? I said, what for? She boxed the queen's ears, the rabbit began. Alice gave a little scream of laughter. "Oh, hush," the rabbit whispered in a frightened tone. "The queen will hear you."